Today we are going to be talking about all of the books that I read from January to March of this year. And I'm going to be ranking them from most enjoyable to least enjoyable. So if you're interested in seeing that, then keep on watching. So in the last 3 months, I've read 14 books. I don't know the stats, but we're gonna go through them and I've categorized them. So in this first category, we are going to be going through my biggest, I don't want to say disappointments, but they just weren't the books for me personally. I can see the value in them, but yeah, they weren't for me. So the first one, and the only book that I don't physically own, is Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. I do not recall what this book is even about. I gave this book a 3.25 stars, which I don't know why I gave it the 0.25. It's definitely more like a 3-star, but that's okay. Basically, it's like this girl is going back to her small town where everyone thinks that she murdered her best friend some amount of years ago, right? It's kind of like the underlying current, you know, small towns, everybody talks behind your back and it's nice to your face. It's giving that vibe. And then what's happening now when she decides to go back to town is that somebody is doing a podcast on her best friend's death and trying to determine if she actually was the one who killed her or if there's someone else who is a suspect. So that's what the book is about, and you know, that's what the book is about. It was okay. I find it wasn't like, the reveal wasn't as crazy as I thought it would be, and there was also a couple of side quests in there that I was like, this is not interesting, and nor does it really relate to the story that much. My favorite character though was definitely the grandmother, because she is a pot stirrer and I loved it. Unfortunately, in that pile of things that I didn't really enjoy. The next one is honestly one of my bigger disappointments this year. Don't hate me, book community, but it is We Love You Bunny by Mona Awad. Oh my gosh, I was really hoping that this book was gonna give me everything that Bunny gave me. First of all, beautiful cover, no complaints about that. But this one, I can't even really explain it, otherwise it'll be like a spoiler basically. But we are following the main character again. She's on a book tour because she wrote a book about her experience when she was in college and the craziness that happened in the first book, Bunny. And yeah, she gets captured by the girlies who was a part of their thing in the first book, and it's kind of just a retelling of the first story but from the other girl's perspective. I was expecting more, and also it was a little bit chaotic, and maybe it's my fault because I listened to it on audio instead of reading it, but I got confused in there. And then towards the end I was like, wait, I thought I had it but then I lost it. So the next book is Julie Chan is Dead by Lian Zhang. I bought this because it was in the section that was good for book clubs. Same thing with another book that's on this list, but that book performed very well in my opinion. Julie Chan is Dead is about these twin sisters. They got separated like when they were maybe like toddlers or something. One went to a more affluent family and the other one went to their aunt, who did not treat her very well. And so, you know, her life kind of fell to the wayside, and the other twin became like a big social media pop star type girl. The popular sister one day calls her and is like saying something over the phone, but she can't really figure out what it is. Then the phone hangs up and she can't like it gives her a bad feeling, so she decides to like not pack up her stuff, but like go visit her sister in New York. Mind you, they don't really have a relationship, so she decides to go visit her sister in New York, where she finds her dead. And she decides, this is my opportunity to get a life that I feel like I deserved, or just to taste a bit of the life that I like, see how the other half lives. And this, it's okay, towards the end, like when we're like changing settings and stuff, like changing scenery, like going from one part to another, this book got so convoluted that it was just entertaining. Like, it's so far removed from reality that you're just like, is this really how influencers do life? And because of that, I think I gave this like a 3.5 star. It was very entertaining, very enjoyable, but it wasn't like, I was expecting more. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're gonna steal someone's identity, it kind of gave me Yellowface with a mix of Bunny, with a mix of, I don't know, but something else sprinkled in there. So I liked it. It was good. It just was not what I was expecting, but I would read more by that author if I could. The next one, the fourth one on this list, is Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. Now, not because this is in disappointments means I did not like this book. To be honest, I don't think I actually like this book that much, but it's just like based on how I anticipated my reading experience going. This book particularly, I was primed by social media to expect something amazing, 6 stars, out of this world, something that's gonna give me like sob experience. It was just okay, you know. It was a lot of miscommunication, it was a lot of no communication. It was kind of weird too in the beginning when they were trying to, like, basically this girl is falling in love with this guy who literally does not speak, by choice I believe, because something happened in his childhood and he's just choosing not to speak anymore. And kind of how they navigate meeting each other, dating each other, and, you know, growing together. It was okay. I think I gave it like a 4 star, but I'm not sure I would read anything else in that universe, because I think there's like 3 other books in that universe and I'm not super interested, to be honest with you. Also, my least favorite character was that stupid cop friend, cop cousin, whatever. Ugh, he was so annoying to me. Anyways, the final book in this series, in this section of the video, is In a Dark Dark Wood. Oh, see how it changes the lighting? In a Dark Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. This is a really old book. This is actually a reread for me, but as usual, I totally did not remember anything about it. This is from when I first started reading, like 10 years ago. Maybe not 10 years ago, maybe that's dragging it, but you can see the pages are yellow. You know, it's been on my shelf for a long time. Basically, it's like, what do they call it, like a bachelorette party, and the main character is invited to the bachelorette party, but she hasn't actually spoken to the person who's getting married in a very long time. They used to be best friends, they're not anymore. And we're trying to, and once they're there, the bachelor party is like at a house, a glass house in the woods in the middle of nowhere. They're trying to do, like, you know, camping vibes, but not actually camp anywhere. They just want to be away and do games and drinks and all that fun stuff. And things start happening in the house, and things are happening in the house. I just remembered what happened in there. And you know, we're trying to unravel who's the cause of it, what's going on, why things are happening. There's a lot of like a little bit creepy stuff in that book. I listened to it on audiobook while I was reading that, and it turns out they changed up a few of the words and removed some of the stuff from the audiobook reading, so I got a little bit lost sometimes. I was like, wait, I didn't know people really did that, but apparently people really did that. So In a Dark Dark Wood by Ruth Ware, it's a good book if you're just starting off in thrillers and you don't want something super scary. but for me, scare me, okay? Scare me good, and I'll be good with that. The next set of books is just a set of 4 of books that were pretty good, that I would reread, or if it's in a series I would continue the series. But they weren't bad, but they weren't good. They were just like, these are like 4-star books for me, basically, between 3 and 4. So the first one, the easy one to get off the list, is Freida McFadden, The Intruder. I don't remember this. Ah, yes, I remember this. So this girl lives, the main character lives alone in a cabin in the woods, and one day there's like a giant rainstorm. There's a storm coming, and she is, you know, she has like a little shed at the back of her house, and she feels like she sees somebody in the shed, but she's not 100% sure. And so when she goes out into the shed, she realizes that there's a girl up there. There's a girl out there, she's covered in blood, and now we are going through the story to try and figure out what happened to the girl, what do the girl have to do with the main character, if anything, and what are we gonna do with all of these revelations. That's what we're going through. And some, you know, naturally some creepy stuff happens, some weird stuff happens. It's a Freida McFadden book. The twist is pretty good. The twists are always pretty good. It's just like kind of like formulaic for me because I've read so many Freida McFadden books at this point. And this one is an older one, so it's not really the best. I'm pretty sure I bought this from my boyfriend for Christmas, and then he read it, and then I was like, wait, I want to read it too, and so I read it. And so yeah, this one was good, but it wasn't that good, and I think he had the same sentiment as well. The next book on my list, I'll save the biggest disappointment for last, but the next book, again, not really a disappointment. It's definitely not a bad book. I think I gave this book a 4.25. Is And Now Back to You by B.K. Borison. It's the second book in the Heartland Strings series. Is that what it's called? Or am I bugging? Does it not tell you? But I loved this book. The reason, or I think I gave it 4.5. I think one of the reasons, I can't tell you why. Oh, Heartstrings series. I can't wait for the third book in this. Start from the beginning. I loved this book. Let's start there. I loved this book. I loved the characters. I loved the dude. I love the girl. It's the second book in the series. The first one was First Time Caller. And this one follows the weather, like TV weather reporter from one channel and the radio weather guy from another radio station. And basically they're teaming up together to report. I am doing a terrible job at explaining this. They're teaming up together to report on a very large storm that's about to affect the area that they live in. It's like a historic storm, and people, they're assuming, want to know how bad the effects are. But part of them teaming up is them driving up to the mountains so that they can get the first experience of it and tell the people back home down the mountain, hey, this is what's gonna happen, right? So it turns out, incidentally, that they don't like each other. They just don't like each other's personalities, their interpretation of each other's personalities, what they're assuming the other person is like. And so, and it's a romance, of course. It's a contemporary romance. So, you know, things are gonna happen. Sparks are gonna fly, as the lightning and thunder and whatever would suggest. But it was good. I think it was really funny. I think I really enjoyed their banter and their conversations with each other. And yeah, I like it. It was good. It was nice. I think I have the same feelings for the first book. It was good, but it wasn't like amazing, life-changing. Like, yeah, I would recommend it, but you won't miss out on much if you don't read it. You know what I'm saying? So there's that one. The fourth book in this stack is No Ordinary Love by Maya Ariel. Again, I like this book. this book is very good to me. This book follows, I think she's a pop star and he is a baseball player, and she is trying to become independent from her label, but mostly because she's married to her boss basically, and it turns out that he was a terrible dude, and now they're getting a divorce, and now in order for her to be as successful in the divorce proceedings as possible, she just has to try and stay out of the limelight. And while she's staying out of the limelight, she happens to meet this guy, and you know, he is making it difficult for her to, you know, stay out of the limelight because he's a very popular baseball player where they are. So that's what it's about. Every time I see the name of this song, I think I think of a song. I don't remember what it's called. Oh, it's called No Ordinary Love, but I don't want to sing on camera because I'm not a very good singer. But it's by this artist called Elaine, and it's in, I think she's Jamaican. I'm pretty sure she's Jamaican, but yeah. Every time I think about it, I think about that song, and I like this. They're trying to just avoid scandal, but they're also falling in love with each other at the same time, and they're both very popular, famous people, so obviously scandal is gonna follow. So that one was good. I liked it. The final book, I hope you didn't catch a glimpse of it. The final book that was kind of like sad for me, Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. I thought I was going to be obsessed with this book. To be honest, the writing is beautiful. I love the writing. I love how she writes her characters. I love how she, every time I read like a mystery type of book, this is kind of like literary fiction slash mystery. Every time I read like a mystery kind of book, I imagine it like those detectives in those TV shows where there's like a red string and they're just trying to like, they have random pieces and they're trying to figure out how to get it to connect. I feel like she had a lot of red strings on her board, and when she connected it to the end, it was very good. It was very well written. I just feel like I thought the octopus was going to play a bigger role. So really this should be the disappointment category, because I was really looking forward to my man being a bigger character in this story. But he's a pretty big character. But I really thought Marcellus was finna be all up in the pages. It's really about this lady who lost her son. Like, he just randomly disappeared one day, I think when he was 18 or something like that. And you know, it's been like about, I think it's been about like 30 years or something like that, and she is now, she's working in an aquarium, and just to pass the time, because she's like an older lady now, she's retired, she's just trying to do fun things with her life. And you know, the octopus is going to help her figure out, or it's going to guide her to understand what exactly happened with her son. And I'm thinking about the book and the reveals and how it came together, and I really enjoyed it. I just wish that Marcellus had a bigger part. I don't know how he would have a bigger part. He played a pretty big part. He literally figured it out. And I love the octopus's personality. He was so sassy. He was so disrespectful, but in like a funny way. He was so over human beings that it was like, I felt like I was looking in a mirror when he was talking, and I was like, am I really an octopus in real life? Like, if you were an animal, what animal would you be? Would I be an octopus? Maybe after reading this. But it was only disappointing just because I wish Marcellus had a bigger role. And so look at these edges. These were cute. I mostly just bought it because it was beautiful in the bookstore. I read the first couple of pages and I was like, oh wait, this is actually really good. And yeah, it was pretty good. I like it. I would recommend this. I would recommend it. It's very funny, it's very witty, it's very interesting. I learned that octopuses have 3 hearts apparently. You know, and generally Okay. Generally speaking, sorry, my lights just came on. You see that? Generally speaking, if you just want a good lit fic to just like coast your way through, that took me about like 10 days to read it, because I would read and stop and read and stop. Normally it takes me about like 3 to 4 days to read a book if I'm reading at that time, so that one took a little bit longer than usual, but that's okay. I read it, so that's all that matters. Now the final stack of books that we have, bloop, is going to be all of my top 5 books of this year so far. Okay, when I do a roundup of the books I've read this year, I am sure at least 3 of these will be in my favorites category for the year. These are mostly pretty devastating, to be honest with you. Only one is not devastating. Only one I did not bawl in. And I don't know how to rank these. I can't rank these. Okay, I can rank them, but between the last 2, I have no idea. So at the bottom of this list, for sure, but still a top book of the year, is You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Akwaeke Emezi. I think it's my first book by this author, and this cover is beautiful. Look at this. This cover is beautiful. I loved it, and it was messy, girl. It is the one thing I love about a book, is the mess, the drama, the everything. I like the convoluted storyline. That's easy to follow, but it's just messy. So basically, this girl, she was married a while ago, right? I think like 5 years ago. She was a newlywed and her husband died, right? And so now she's been in grief for a long time, and now she's just like, yo, let me step back into the sea and start understanding, you know, who I am in this new dating scene and what I want to do and da 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 da. She meets this one guy, and you know, he's cool. He's everything she should be looking for in a dude right now, but she wants to take it slow with him, right? And so she's like, you know what, let's just chill, get to know each other, date, be cute. And so, you know, a part of him courting her, because he really wants her, a part of him courting her is him bringing her to this experience, if you will. It's just like a fun experience for her and her career. She's an artist, and a part of bringing her to this experience is her meeting the boy that she's dating his dad. And it turns out her dad is the dad, not her dad, his dad is kind of like somebody she would be much more interested in than the dude that she's currently dating. And to be honest, the only reason this got a 4.5 is because it was cussing a lot. And at some point I was just like, yo, can we just we don't really need to cuss this much in a book, like, come on. So that's really the only reason this lost points, but this was messy. The next book that would be at the bottom of the list is Sweet Heat by Bolu Babalola. I loved this book. I loved this book. I cannot, if there's a 3rd in the series, I cannot wait for it to come out. But this follows the couple. I can't tell you because it's the 2nd in the series. This follows the couple from the first book. That's all I can tell you about it. This follows a couple from the first book and their journey into like a new kind of like stage of their relationship. I can't tell you anymore. I'm so sorry. If you haven't read the first one, I can't read the second one. I can't tell you about the second one, but this book was beautiful. Just like I loved Honey and Spice, I loved Sweet Heat. She did her big one with that. She did her big one with that, but it's mad thick. Like, why it's so long, bro? It was like 400 pages. It is 480 pages. That's stupid, in my opinion. Almost 500-page romance novel. Some of it was definitely should have been gotten rid of, but it is what it is. The next book, Broken Country by Claire Leslie Hall. When Beth's brother-in-law shoots a dog after going after their sheep, she doesn't realize that the gunshot will alter the course of their lives. The dog belonged to none other than Gabriel Wolf, the man Beth loved as a teenager who broke her heart years ago. Gabriel has returned to the village with his young son Leo, a boy who reminds Beth very much of her own son, who died a few years earlier in a tragic accident. Now she gets pulled into Gabriel's life all over again, and how it's affecting her current marriage and Gabriel's life and the kid and all of this convoluted crazy stuff. And then eventually, does it tell you who? I can't tell you who died. Somebody died, but somebody dies, and the after effects of that, and how her kid died, and oh my god, this book was so good. Again, with the red strings and the connecting of the dots of the story, the reveals in this, the reason why people do things they do in this, it's a very, like, it's like a peek into like how people's minds work sometimes, and what they do to just like keep their peace of mind, to be honest with you, and just to like be sane and stable and happy and feel peaceful. That's it. Such a good book. Would 100% recommend if you're into literary fiction with like a spice, with like a little hint of a mystery. I don't know how to rank these, like which one is better than the other. If we're going based on tiers, this is the one I cried less in. This is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I think this is one of the first books that I read this year. And when I tell you, I was sobbing on the bus. I had to call my sister and FaceTime her when I got home because I was so distraught by the end of this. And then I was pissed off because I was like, y'all play with my emotions. I hate you. But it's basically this woman is applying or is in the NASA space program, and she's one of the first ever women to be in the space program. And it also involves a love story, passionate and soaring story about the transformative power of love, this time among the stars. Oh my god. It's talking about the main character's friendships, relationships with like her sister and her family. It's talking about her own personal romantic relationships and all of the people that she's meeting in the new space program. The way I'm describing it doesn't sound good, but if you've read Taylor Jenkins Reid before, you know that this woman knows how to write a character and knows how to write a good, like, not work environment, but like career for someone. She's so good at that. I don't know how she does it. She makes all the careers that she's written for. Well, to be fair, I've only read like 3 books by her, but everything I've read by her I love so far. So it's a literary fiction, but it's also like a love story, and it takes place in the world of NASA. And it's also kind of historical because it's from like the 70s, I believe. Oh, 1984. So, you know, it's just oh, this was my first book that I cried for this year, and I just could not deal. I think I was like out of commission for like a good 3 days after that. I couldn't think about anything else. All I would talk about was that book, which leads me to the next one. I finished a series. I was broken by this series several times over. I am so pleased with myself for actually finishing it, and I'm also very pissed that I will never be able to experience this book firsthand again. It is such a commentary on like friendships and life and how to move forward after trauma, of community, of relationships, romantic relationships, of finding yourself, of going against the grain. I think this is my favorite book of the year so far. The Winners by Frederick Baumman, by the way. She's thick. She's like 600, yeah, she's 670 pages. Listened to it on audiobook and also read the digital version from the library. I think within the first 20% of this book I was already crying. And to be honest, I do cry very easily, but not in books. In life, I cry very easily. I cried this morning listening to a true crime podcast. Like, it's not that serious. But this book had my emotions. I was happy, I was relieved, I was overjoyed, I was elated. And then I was disappointed, and then I was like scared, and then I was like, oh, I don't know how he wrote this book, because he introduced new characters in this book, and he gave you backstory on old characters in this book, and he evolved his previous characters in this book. He did it all in this book. How, sir? How did you do this? I have no idea. I just raved about this book for a good 3.5 minutes. I apologize. I loved this book. I can't tell you any more about it than that, because it's the third and final in a series, and it's rightfully thick. Normally I'm just like, I don't see a reason why this book is so big, but I see the reason. I see the reason. And my God, today, that's all of the books that I have read so far this year, all 14 of them, and my feelings on them, my rankings of them. I hope you made it to the end of this video, and even if you didn't, I'm still making it to this end of this video, and I'm just thinking about the winners, and I just love that book so much. You know, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.